Hello, and welcome to Gaia Blooming GPS for the week of March 7th, 2016. And this is take two because the first time we did it, computer glitches made it pretty crazy and echoey, and so hopefully we'll be able to get through it this time. So I'm Mimi, and I'm here with Nicole Oman again. And we're going to dive in. And I still have the same goddess cards that I pulled before, but due to shuffling the other deck, I'm working with some other cards. So if you watched the last one and you're back for more, let's take this on another ride. So kicking off this week with new moon solar eclipse. And new moon is always a time for manifestation. And the solar eclipse adds a whole new burst of rebirth and new life. It's a completion, it's an ending. Eclipse energies are endings and beginnings. And there's so much energy feeding into this, including Jupiter in Virgo. The nodes are interacting in here, Chiron, and then Pluto and Saturn are also, and Uranus are actually all feeding into this energy as well. So it's big energy that we're working with in this eclipse. And the card that I got to kick this off is the transformation card. The transformation card, the rebirth card, and the conditioning card. So we're letting go of conditioning. We're letting go of layers that we've picked up through our years of living, whether you're 10, whether you're 20, 30, 40, 50, whatever. We all get conditioning from the universe, not the universe, the world, society, basically telling us this is how to do it, this is how you don't do it. And in this energy, we're shedding off a few of those layers and stepping into a higher vibration of who we are. The other card that I pulled before is the mind card. And the mind may be very active in this process. That Virgo energy with Jupiter and Virgo can really ignite mind action. And your mind may be fighting like, this is how it was safe. It was really safe when I was wearing a sheep costume because I wasn't out there with the other lions. I didn't have to step up for my pride. I didn't have to be present. But we're taking off these sheep costumes. We're letting that mind energy go that's held us in that place and transforming into a new level, rebirthing ourselves into a higher level. There's that lion energy again. And this is a cause for celebration. This is a good thing. Your soul longs to be experienced. Your soul longs to dance in the rain. Your soul longs to be the lion that you are. So allow this eclipse, wherever it's falling for you, however it's showing up for you, to peel away several of these layers so that you can show up on a more authentic level, authentic soul level for yourself. And from the goddesses, I pulled Isis, past life. This situation involves your past life memories. I want to mention that Isis, besides like the past life stuff, which might be feeding into these conditioning, it might be feeding into some of those layers that you need to take off. But Isis is also the goddess of rebirth. And so here she is helping you rebirth yourself into being. If you need help, if there's a part of you that you feel like has been suppressed or died, because this is taking us back, this eclipse is taking us back to 2007, in September of 2015. If parts of you were left behind at that time that you're wanting to resurrect, Isis can help bring that energy forward for you. So if you're needing some help with this, if you're feeling alone in this rebirth process, call on this energy to help rebirth that part of yourself. Nicole?
Yeah. So, now I'm echoing.
I'll mute myself.
That works. Are we good? Yeah. Okay, good. It doesn't echo. I don't know what's going on. It's this Gemini rising thing. We just need to echo each other. I don't know what's going on. Anyways, so what I'm getting, and I got this a little bit last time, and I'm just going to dive into it, is for this Piscean solar eclipse, I feel like we're working on new relationships with the divine masculine. Now, the Piscean energy alone is God-like. And what I feel like Virgo energy, and we have this Jupiter in Virgo opposing this amazing eclipse, meaning whatever this is being highlighted here in reality in this Virgo energy, is also being highlighted over here in this Piscean energy. And if you know anything about astrology, I believe that mother, father, it's Capricorn and Cancer, but divine mother, or like Mother Earth, or the purity of the feminine energy, is Virgo. And God, male, masculine form, is Pisces. So what we're getting here is an upgrade. So if you came in with a really hard relationship with your dad, your father, and male figures, male authoritative figures in your life, this is a really good time. And I pulled in the angel cards, I pulled the healing card. This is a really good time to heal with your masculine energies and getting a new relationship, especially if you're a woman, with giving your power away from male authoritative figures and feeling more emotionally supportive, not being cut down by their opinions or their criticisms, but really standing in your power, your physical power, and trusting yourself so you can not give your power away to their authority, but be supported emotionally, be loved by the masculine, not be criticized by the masculine. And with that, you have to let go of some of your old guilt, some old shame that you might have brought on or held on to because your dad might have been emotionally abusive, or I think I'm getting a lot of abandonment issues. So if you deal with massive abandonment issues, this is a time to call upon the divine masculine and ask them to support you in a way so you feel safe. This is a safety issue. And if you always think that someone's going to leave you or cheat on you, you never feel safe in your relationships. So this is where you go into yourself and you pray. You pray your little heart out and say, please, divine masculine, support me in a new way so I can attract relationships that will be more supportive and less destructive. So we can get this divine masculine online and break free of the old chains that have bonded us into our old traumas, and allowing us to move forward with love in our hearts and to bring in and also transform the relationships we are in into more supportive and more of that energy of healing, instead of feeling more trauma and more pain and suffering. Transforming those energies from the divine masculine.
Beautiful. I love that. I know that that's really a big part of what I left behind in 2007 and what I'm rebringing in with this eclipse. So that's so perfect. I love that so much. So now we have the moon moving into Aries on Wednesday. So this is coming right off of this eclipse, moon in Aries. And I gotta say, I pulled some of the same cards, which is so interesting to me as last time. Last time I pulled the suppression card and I pulled the thunderbolt card, and I had pulled the suppression reversed. And this time I don't know which way it was, but I'm gonna go with how it was. Suppression reversed. We're releasing some of those things that held us back, like the divine masculine. And sometimes that feels hard. That feels like the thunderbolt. That feels like the ego freaking out. Like, this is how it's always been. This is how I know it. This is how it's been safe. I pulled the politics card. Politics and clinging to the past. That was the old way. Those were the old masks. And now we're moving into a time of new vision, a new higher version of ourselves. Here's the lower energy. Here it is, this energy that was crawling on the ground. And that's kind of what it feels like when you don't feel safe. And so this moon shifting into Aries after this eclipse is saying, hey, now start moving forward from this new way, this new perspective on life. And it may not feel easy. It may feel a little bit tough. There's big healing energy, though, that's available to us in this energy. The sun's going to be conjunct Chiron with the moon in Aries, and Mercury and Neptune are also going to be there. So your divine self is helping you through this. It's helping you move move past the fear, move past any parts of your ego that feel like my life is falling apart, my world is falling apart. You got to trust when these eclipses happen and stuff starts falling away, before it, after it, it's always for your highest and greatest good. That stuff that's falling away, let that stuff go so that you can be more present with yourself and your healing process. And from the goddesses, I pulled Ishel, medicine woman. You're a channel for divine healing power. And the channel energy, it doesn't mean that you have to do anything besides be present and let this energy move through you. And let it come and shift anything that's coming up for you in this energy. So even though the Aries energy may want to act, we're still Sun in Pisces. There's still that energy of finding your flow and finding peace in that flow. Nicole?
Well, I'm going into a totally different thing that I did in the last video. So this is the message that's coming very clearly in this one. So this is Wednesday, moon in Aries. I think what's going to also come up. So we're coming off of that new moon where we set a lot of new intentions for relationships. What you're going to feel a little bit of like a wave, like, so the wave comes in and then it flushes back out kind of thing. So what you're going to feel is a vibration of not just relationships in lovers or with your father figure, but then you're going to start feeling a wave around friendships. So you may have had friendships in the past that felt very controlling. And so there may be someone who tried to control you before might come back, or some issue might start arise again. But I'm getting a past friendship that you are ready to have courage and maybe either A, stand up for yourself, or B, let me hold on. Something around control. Now you're guarded around this person already. Don't try to control them and don't let them control you. There's a better way of doing this. And I'm trying to find out what that is. And I'm getting a very, okay. The reason why there's control in this relationship, whether it's you or them trying to control you or you trying to control them, is because you guys are very, very different. And one is a bamboo stick and one is an oak tree, and they have two different ways of growing. And so if you can't understand the way they're doing things and you want to control their experience, it's because you are projecting onto them the way they should be doing it, which is not their way of doing it. Let them grow in the way that they want to grow. Vice versa. That's where you might have to set the boundary of, like, you know what? You don't understand my process, but you need to trust me because I'm trusting myself. Please leave me alone. And that might be exactly what you need, and just both have compassion for each other's own experience. But if you can't come to that mutual understanding of allowing each other to just be in your experience, and even though it's different, then you guys got to sever that friendship for now, because it might feel too stifling either for you or the other person, and you just can't be yourself. And nobody likes being in a friendship where you just feel uncomfortable because you feel judged all the time, and you're like, okay, so, and I'm gonna say this, and this is not real, this is just the thing that's coming to my head. It's like, we have a meat eater and a vegan, and you're sitting at a restaurant together, and all they do while you're eating your food is going, cows are really bad for you, and da-da-da, and it's bad for the universe, and everything's going to die, and blah, 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 blah. Like, that's the last person you're going to want to hang out with, right? So maybe you have anemia, and you need to eat meat. You need to eat a little iron in your body, or you feel completely depleted. So allowing each other to have your own experience. And if they can't do it, then you just got to sever yourself, and you got to allow yourself to go on your own path, because that would just get annoying and frustrating. Right?
Yeah, for sure. But I think of the Fleetwood Mac song, "You Can Go Your Own Way."
Yeah, you can go your own way. And you know what? And nobody's wrong and nobody's right. It's just different. And what are you going to do?
Yeah, totally. So next we have the moon shifting into Taurus on Friday. And I'm going to start with my goddess card for this. I pulled the Lakshmi card, bright future, stop worrying, everything is going to be just fine, which is so perfect for Taurus energy, because Taurus energy takes us into our worth. And I love the cards that I pulled for this time around. The first card I pulled is the receptivity card with this, and your worth receiving. We actually have a lot of energy around Venus. Taurus energy is like earth energy, and it's also Venus energy. So it's about like receiving pleasure, enjoying yourself. I feel like these cards are like, get playful, get in the flow, allow yourself. You have that too?
Yeah.
I love that. Get in the flow and allow yourself to just enjoy. It's, Friday afternoon that the moon shifts into Taurus. Allow yourself to enjoy nature. Allow yourself to go out and have a good time with somebody that you love. Maybe that's part of this new path that this Pisces energy, this Pisces eclipse is bringing in, allowing things that before you're like, no, I have to show up, I have to do it this way. This moon in Pisces is like, nope, relax, chill out, receive the good things that life has to offer. There's a lot of really good energy here for you. I also put the traveling card. So this could mean part of this energy is about you're worth it. Take a trip. It could be a little day trip. It could be a weekend trip. It could be just even a trip in your own mind where you start allowing these things in. Again, I know the last 7 years for me since that eclipse in 2007 really were very grounded, and I was very, I don't want to say stuck, but I was really stuck, because lack of a better word. I was really in one place learning some big lessons. So this may be a call to you to come out and explore, even if in your own mind, like, where do I want to go? I want to go to Bali. I want to go to Thailand. I want to go to Costa Rica. I want to go to Hawaii. Putting that energy out there and reminding yourself that you're worth that energy. You're worth giving yourself the time to go see the world, get involved in nature, get involved in the world, and see what it's all about. So allow that energy to come in. You're worth it with the moon in Taurus.
So with the moon in Taurus, this is a double whammy here. I have the two playfulness cards, and I have intention. So just like what Mimi was saying, was put the intention to have more play in your life. Now this is what I'm getting with the other cards. It looks like you and maybe the crew that you're hanging out with are taking life way too freaking seriously. And the reason why we're needing to get into more of the playful energy is remembering that life is a gift and it should be fun too. And yeah, we can do the hard work, either hard work out in the world in our communities, or even our hard work on ourselves. But we have to remember to enjoy our experience and love what we're doing again. So what I'm also getting, I'm getting right back into what I had just talked about. First, I have the experiencing card. Remember that life is about your experience, and it doesn't have to be so, this is right, this is wrong. Enjoy all the flavors and colors of your experience. Now I have the participation card in reverse, and I have the dream card in reverse. And I always see that the dream card is this person, I always feel like it's the grass is greener. And this person is looking at their relationships, like they should look a certain way, or they should look a certain way, or they should be more beautiful, or they should, or they should be further along in their path or their career. And what is happening is they're rejecting what is happening now. So they're missing out on their own experience, because they're either in the past or in the future. And because you're so focused on the future, or what you think you should be like or should look like, you're not appreciating your life as it is. You're not being grateful for what you already have. But you're also, and I'm going to go back to the judgment. You might be putting judgment on other people, or putting judgment on yourself, that you aren't further along in your journey. And when we don't feel good about ourselves, guess what happens? We mirror it to other people, and then we become condemning, criticizing, and we become very judgmental. And then we sever bonds. We sever bonds with people that maybe we shouldn't be severing bonds with. Instead, we have to find understanding for ourselves and understanding for their particular experience that they're having in their life and what they're going through. And a real good friendship is not judging them for what they're going through, but loving them through their own fear, loving them through their own process, loving them through the mess that they're in, because honestly, we're all a little a mess. And if you can't accept your own mess, then you're going to judge other people's mess. Why don't you just be in your experience the way that it is right now? Don't make yourself have to look a certain way, or your relationships have to look a certain way, but really embody what is coming up for you in the moment. When you can appreciate that, and it doesn't look perfect and it doesn't look pretty all the time, but if you can really accept the experience that is arising for you now, first of all, you let go of judgment and you have more compassion for yourself and others. But you begin to learn the lessons that are arising for you now. So when you are ready to look like that relationship looks like, or whatever, you'll be ready for it. But the thing is, you got to let go of the expectation of what you think it should look like, and realize you have everything exactly the way it should be right now in this moment. And when you can realize that, you will start bringing in the vibration of gratitude, understanding, and compassion. And playfulness, not taking it so seriously. I'm in my mess, so I'm going to play in the mess and finger paint, Think of it that way instead of criticizing and condemning. Those are the two words that keep popping into my head.
I love that. I love that so much. Play. I love it.
Play in the mess. If you spill milk, make a milk painting. I don't know. You know what I mean? Instead of like going, oh, I'm such an idiot. I can't believe I spilled the milk.
Love it. All right. So it's so funny because I'm going to piggyback off of that in the energy for Venus in Pisces. Venus is shifting into Pisces on Saturday. And Venus in Pisces to me is very Rumi-esque, because Venus is the energy of relationship. It is also the energy around our worth. But it's connecting in Pisces to that oneness. Pisces desires that connection, that union. And so when Venus reaches there, we desire that union. And I pulled the Six of Cups card, the dream card, where there's this relationship out there, and here's this girl, and she's like wanting this union. She wants that passion so much. And meanwhile, here's the universe enveloping her. I pulled the card Inner Voice with this, and Beyond Illusion. And I feel like this energy is calling for us to recognize the relationships, the good in the relationships that are here right now for us, whether it's a relationship with yourself, with your higher self, with your inner voice, with the universe. Get beyond the illusion and dive into that relationship. Because again, I pulled this last time too. I did pull the Lovers and the Healing card again. So there's healing in this. If you can get past the idea that it has to look like this, because chances are once you get past the idea of what it's supposed to look like and all that, and just enjoy what it is and being enveloped in it right here, right now, you're going to bring that healing into all your relationships, whether it's the friendship relationships, like Nicole was saying, whether it's romantic relationships, whether it's a relationship with yourself. On all levels, this can happen. But we have to set down the expectations, that grass is greener on the other side thing that Nicole just mentioned. And in doing that, we open to divine passion. Be honest with yourself. What's your heart's truest desire? And I feel like that the people whose lives that I'm like, ooh, I want to live that life, it's not necessarily the lives that have like the greatest passionate relationships, although there are some of those that I'm like, that I like that. But it's the ones that are fully embodied, that are like, this is what I love. I love dancing around naked around the fire. I love going to the beach naked. It's all naked apparently for me right now. But that's the kind of life that I want to live. They're the people who are balls out, living their life with no fear. Balls out. It's all naked. So I feel like this is what this Pisces, Venus and Pisces energy is calling us to be balls out in relationship, passionate relationship with the universe. Nicole is cracking up over there. So I'm going to hand it over to you. Balls out.
Oh my God. I love it. Okay, sorry. That is just awesome. Okay, so I piggybacking off of that, that grass is greener thing. I'm telling you, all it is a big effing burden. It's a burden that you don't need anymore, because what you're doing with all these old expectations of what you think you want is you are trying to manifest a life that isn't being presented, and you're just like hitting your face on the wall. Well, stop. Just let go of instead of hitting your face on the wall, why don't you just let go of the expectation and just be with what is. Slow down. You don't have to move so fast. If you don't have everything that you want, it's because you're not supposed to have it at the moment. You're supposed to be in your journey, in your experience. Slow freaking down. Slow down. I also get with this Venus in Pisces, it's falling in love with your own aloneness too. So it might be falling in love with the relationship with your own self, because if you can't be comfortable about being alone and you try to get into a relationship, what happens is we manifest the addict dealer relationship. And what an addict dealer relationship is, one person always holds the power. One person always will hold the love drug. And the other one will always be craving that person's love. So look at your past relationships and see where you were either the dealer, where they loved you a little more and you were like, yeah, here's a little bit here, here's a little bit there. And when you were the addict, where you were just craving their validation and craving their affection and craving their attention, and they dish out a little bit and they dish out a little bit. And that is a codependent relationship where you're always never feeling satisfied. In either you're the addict or the dealer, you're never satisfied. And if you can't fall in love with being alone, then you're always going to be the addict or the dealer. But when you really get comfortable in your own skin, then when you're starting to attract new lovers in your life or new friendships, and I'm also getting this is in the sisterhood too, because we have so many effed up things in the sisterhood, because we're always wanting to tear each other down. Oh, she has that, so I have to make myself feel better and like gossip behind her back to make me feel better. All gossip is our own insecurities coming out and talking about what we feel bad about ourselves. Listen to somebody who's gossiping. Everything they're saying about that person is an insecurity about themselves. And this is not to be mean, because guess what? I'm going to claim it. We all gossip. Nobody's too high for gossip. When we're not feeling good about ourselves, that's the tendency that's what happens. It's a shadow. But if we're more aware of our shadows, like this aloneness card, right? Like he's bringing light to the shadow. It's okay if it's a shadow. Don't beat yourself up on it, but start to realize, bring it in a higher consciousness and flip it back on yourself and go, oh, F it. I'm gossiping. What the heck what's going on with me? What am I gossiping about? Oh, I'm gossiping about her doing this. I'm feeling very insecure in my career right now and I'm not making as much money. So I'm trying to bring her down. So I feel better that, my career isn't flourishing the way it, whatever the tendency might be. But it's really getting, seeing what you're doing. And then you start having, again, I'm going to use the word, more compassion. And when you start feeling this, that's when the real transformation will begin. You get to transform yourself because you can go, I'm not going to start picking on other people. What I'm going to do is flip it back on me and have more compassion for myself, and then reestablish the bonds within myself so I can start healing my sisterhood. I can start healing my friendships, and I can start healing and being better in relationships with lovers and my parents and my children. And that's when it becomes alchemy. That's when it becomes gold. The gold is in here. You will never find gold externally if you don't manifest it here, because you'll never be satisfied with it. That's why the dream will keep on continuing happening, and you keep on having expectations, because you haven't found the jewel yet. The jewel lives here. Once you find that, Everything else is icing on the cake because no one will be able to take away the jewel that lives inside of your soul.
Love
Okay.
that. It's so funny. I don't know why, and I don't know the movie well enough to like be able to point it out. But I was like, that reminds me of the movie The Guru, the jewel, the gold is in here. Remember with Mike Myers? I don't know. It's just it's something.
In the lotus flower unfolding deep within your soul. And I got the celebration card on both accounts. I got this one and I got the celebration card here. So celebrate,
Oh,
guys.
you call that aloneness.
I did. Oh, here it is. Celebrate your aloneness, people. And then when you find your aloneness, then you will find your lotus flower opening to your jewel. And then when you find your jewel, the rubies and the diamonds can come together and celebrate and stop comparing. Oh, he's shinier than me, but I'm red. So who cares? You're both beautiful, you're both shiny, both fantastic, you're both gems. And now let's make shiny things together, you know.
Like shiny pink gems, pink tourmaline. Okay, so speaking of aloneness, moon in Gemini. The moon shifts into Gemini on Sunday, and it's Sunday afternoon that it shifts, and that's one of the cards I pulled, is the isolation card. And here it is, feeling alone. And Gemini energy is so interesting because Gemini wants to connect. It wants to communicate. It wants to be seen. It wants to be heard. It wants to talk. And so this is like punishment for Gemini energy. But you've got to recognize, like Nicole said, this is necessary to get in touch with some of this. I pulled the sorrow card, and I pulled this last time around too. Last time around with the last thing we did. If sorrow is coming up, be present with yourself. The Gemini energy can tend to flip from one thing to another. But the ordinariness card is reminding us this is a gift. This is not, sorrow is not out of the ordinary. It's not something to be bypassed. It's something to be looked at because it's showing you something. When sorrow comes up, something's coming up to be experienced, to be released, and it is a gift. So be willing in this energy with the moon in Gemini, even though you may have that urge to be like, I'm going to just take myself right out of my funk. Well, I can respect that, and I think that's beautiful. Be present with these feelings that come up because they'll help you get into the jewel. And once you have the courage to be present with yourself, to let those tears help you grow, you're going to find yourself feeling a lot more this. The world is going to be friendly. You're going to move into this friendly energy. You need this for your blooming, the other card from the goddesses, Arakira, blossoming. But you need to first spend time with that feeling. And you know, with the moon in Gemini, the mind energy is up really strong and the emotional energy is up really strong. So your mind may want to take it and translate it and make it this really big thing. It doesn't have to be that. All you need to do is really experience it and allow yourself to move through it to get to this place, to get to this blossoming place. And Arakira says, you're just getting started. Have patience with yourself in the process. Don't give up. Be patient with it. Don't just, again, bypass it. Don't do the Gemini thing where you're like, I'm going to go to this concert, and then I'm going to go to that concert, and then I'm going to go to this concert, and then I'm going to go to this person's house, and then I'm going to call that person on the phone because they just so want all that experience. This is an experience. That sorrow, that isolation is an experience that you're meant to have in this energy. So have it as part of your unwinding from this major week. It's a major transformational week with this eclipse. So honor those feelings that come up. Nicole?
I'm going to piggyback what Mimi said with this Gemini energy. You're going to have to be I got the truth and integrity card. Be really honest with yourself. If you're feeling stressed out and exhausted and people keep giving you invitations and you keep accepting them, and then you feel victim and you project onto them like, God, you're exhausting me. Well, you're kind of exhausting yourself because you keep saying yes to things that you just know you need to rest. So the card I'm really getting, and it's interesting because this is more of like Libra energy, but Geminis and Libras usually get along really well because Geminis need balance because they want to do everything. And they have such, you know, the twins can see all over the place and they just want to be in every place at once. Where Libras remind them like, hey, I can balance you here. Well, what you're learning and what Mimi was saying, and maybe you need to isolate a little bit, is because maybe you need to find your own balance and stop listening to other people or taking every invitation that is offered to you and get into more of the innocence or the simplicity of your life and find the beauty. Like, you know, you don't have to go to festivals every weekend, or you don't have to go party and drink and you know, be the socialite every weekend. Sometimes it's okay to just sit in a garden and breathe and relax and rejuvenate and take care of your body and just maybe nap all day Sunday. I don't know, but it's like you need to listen to yourself in a better way to find more balance, because you're feeling overwhelmed and overworked and stressed out, not because everybody is offering you things or asking you to do things. It's because you're saying yes. And that's where you have to be honest with yourself of not being victim to you being stressed out, but taking responsibility where you're allowing yourself to feel yes, even though you're physically, emotionally, mentally, and spiritually exhausted. If your body keeps like bringing up, like I kept getting this pink eye thing and it kept coming up. Well, I realized it was nothing else but my body just being really overworked. And I needed to take care of my body and drink more water and take care of my liver. But that was where I needed to show up. It was nobody's fault. People were asking me to do things and I kept saying yes. So that's what I'm saying is take responsibility and get into simplicity. Get into simplicity and don't take on another adventure when you haven't completed the adventure you started. Don't start too many things. You're confusing yourself.
Yeah, good advice.
Don't
So
project
good.
it on the other, you know, and the big thing is don't project it on the other people. Like you're wanting it to blame it on everybody else, your job, your work, your coworkers, your friends, you know, your husband, your wife, but it's not theirs. You have to say no and honor and take that time alone. You know what, honey? I'm going out today. You're watching the kid. I need a me day. I need to go get a pedicure and drink water, cucumber water, and have a day where the kids aren't freaking out. Where can you take your time?
Yeah, beautiful. And I think that's really good too. We have daylight savings time on Sunday, and that throws everybody off as well if your place where you live does that. So take it easy, be gentle, be easy on yourself. So that's it for this week. Again, if you watched last time and watched this time too, sorry about the echo, but yay, we conquered it. Check out our daily work, daily guidance, daily horoscopes. Posted on Gaia Blooming every day. Nicole has something to say about that.
Well, I don't know how this is going to work out for the next 2.5 weeks, but March 25th, I have my book proposal due. So if you don't see my daily guidances for the next 2.5 weeks, don't freak out. I will be back. I just might need to focus on that. Right now, I did a daily guidance and it felt really good. But if I feel like that's taking a little bit too much of my writing energy, I need to really focus and get this thing put together. So I might be gone for 2 weeks, but you'll have me back. I'll be back. I promise.
Exactly. So GaiaBlooming.com, coachingwithnikki.com, or is it coachingwithnikki.com? NicoleUllman.com. NicoleUllman.com.
And coachingwithnikki@yahoo.com.
Got it. So check that out. Let us support you through this big energy and have a beautiful eclipse. Namaste.
Namaste.